James groaned as he pushed the power button for the 10th time. Still nothing. He tapped the screen, shook the phone a little, even whispered a desperate "Come on, man, please," but the screen remained dark, lifeless, and stubbornly blank. "Great," he muttered. "Just perfect. Monday morning and my phone decides to die." He tossed it onto the couch and rubbed his temples. His apartment was quiet to quiet. Normally his phone filled every space: morning alarms, news videos, playlists, podcasts, notifications, reminders. Now it was like the world had gone mute. He grabbed his keys and the dead phone and hurried toward the door. The clock on his microwave blinked 12 o'clock, unhelpfully. He didn't even know the real time because of course he always checked his phone. As he walked outside, he saw his neighbor, MRS Carter, an older woman with silver hair and a warm smile. "Well, James, you look like you sprinted out of a burning building," she said, holding a small bag of birdseed. "My phone won't turn on," he said, as if delivering tragic news. She chuckled. "Ah, the end of the world. I'm serious." "Oh, I know you are. And that's what makes it funny. Go get it fixed. The repair shop on Maple Avenue is good." "Yeah, I guess I will." He started walking, holding the useless phone like a wounded friend. Without music, without notifications, without a digital map telling him which way to turn, he felt strangely exposed. He wasn't used to hearing his own footsteps, or the chatter from the school bus passing by, or the breeze rustling the oak trees above him. It all felt oddly unfamiliar. But he kept walking because he had no choice. James reached the main street, expecting the usual rush of cars and noise. But instead, he noticed things he had never paid attention to before. A teenager rode past on a skateboard, leaving a faint scent of citrus cologne. A couple at a cafe laughed so loudly that people on the sidewalk smiled even though they had no idea what the joke was. A construction worker perched on a ladder called down to his co-worker, teasing him about the size of his lunch. James blinked. He had walked this street hundreds of times. He just never saw it. He usually walked with his earbuds in, his eyes glued to the glowing screen, missing everything happening around him. But now his phone was dead, and the world suddenly seemed very alive. Halfway down the block, something delicious hit him. A smell. A heavenly, warm, buttery smell. He followed it without thinking, and sure enough, just around the corner, a small bakery he had never noticed came into view. The sign read Mia's Morning Loaf. It looked cozy, with string lights hanging across the windows. He pushed the door open, and a bell chimed softly. Inside, a middle-aged woman with curly dark hair smiled from behind the counter. "Good morning. Haven't seen you before." James rubbed the back of his neck. "Yeah, I usually just order breakfast on an app." "Well, welcome to real life," she laughed. Cinnamon rolls of fresh just came out of the oven. The smell practically hugged him. "I'll take one," he said. She handed it to him wrapped in warm parchment paper. He took a bite and froze. It was heavenly. Sweet, warm, soft, perfect. "Wow," he said with his mouth full. She winked. "Screens don't taste like that." As he walked back outside, taking slow bites, he felt something odd. Relaxed. Grounded. Present. He didn't want to rush. He didn't want to check messages. He just wanted to enjoy his cinnamon roll and the sun hitting his face. That alone felt like a new world. James continued toward Maple Avenue. Without GPS, he had to trust his memory, which felt like trying to use an old muscle he hadn't exercised in years. But something strange happened as he walked. He noticed sounds he had never heard. A dog barking joyfully as its owner tossed a red frisbee. A group of college students debating something loudly on the bus bench. A little girl jumping into a puddle and laughing so hard her dad had to catch his breath. Usually, he would have missed all of this, but the world felt louder, alive, colorful. He reached the park at the end of the street, deciding to cut through it on the way to the repair shop. Birds chirped overhead. Leaves crunched beneath his shoes. A couple on a picnic blanket clinked coffee cups. A man painted the fountain brush strokes slow and deliberate, his canvas covered in rich blues and greens. James paused to watch the painter. He didn't know why. Something about it felt peaceful. The painter noticed and smiled. "Morning," he said. "Hey, that looks amazing, thank you. Beautiful morning to capture color." James nodded slowly. I never really look at the park. I usually walk through with my head down." The painter said knowingly. "The screen disease?" James snorted. "Yeah, something like that. Nothing wrong with screens," the painter said. "But they can't show you everything. Some things you've got to feel, not just see." James took a breath of cool morning air. It smelled like grass, sunlight, and distant coffee. He didn't know those things had smells. He walked on. For the first time in a long time, he wasn't rushing. He wasn't multitasking. He wasn't half listening to a podcast. He was just walking, and he liked it. James finally reached the repair shop. A neon sign flashed, "Fix IT Fast," in bright blue. Inside, a young technician with a beanie and thick glasses looked up. "Hey there. What's up?" "My phone died this morning. Won't turn on, won't charge." "Let's take a look." James handed it over. The tech pressed a few buttons, plugged in a cable, waited, shook his head slightly, then said, "Battery's toast. I can replace it." "About an hour." "An hour?" James said with surprise. "Yeah. You can wait here, go get coffee, take a walk, whatever." James almost joked that he couldn't survive an hour without his phone. But then he remembered the bakery, the park, the sunlight, the painter. "Yeah," James said softly. "I can wait." He left the shop and walked across the street to a small outdoor seating area behind a coffee cart. A barista with pink hair and a denim apron handed him a steaming cup of dark roast. He sat under a tree watching people pass by. A man jogging with his golden retriever, to teenagers trying and failing to take aesthetic Polaroid photos, a mom feeding crackers to a toddler in a stroller, a woman reading a book with sticky notes poking out of the pages. Real life, real colors, real sounds. He took a sip of his coffee. Hot, strong, smooth. He felt something else he hadn't felt in a long time: stillness. He hadn't realized how constant his digital noise was, until it vanished. When the hour passed, he went back to the repair shop. The technician smiled. "All done." The phone lit up in the man's hand, bright and alive again. Notifications flooded the screen instantly. Emails, messages, missed, calls, alerts, but James didn't reach for it. Not right away. Not like before. He looked at it calmly, not desperately. Something in him had changed. As he walked home, phone working again, he didn't open it. He didn't check messages. He didn't jump back into the world behind the screen. Instead, he tucked it into his pocket. He looked up. The afternoon sky was streaked with orange and pink, like someone had painted soft colors across the horizon. A warm breeze moved through the trees, carrying the distant smell of pastries from the bakery he'd visited earlier. He passed the painter in the park again. This time, the fountain painting had more color, more depth, more life. The painter nodded at him. James nodded back. He passed the playground where children shrieked with joy. He watched a little girl blow bubbles that drifted across the grass like floating diamonds. He passed Mrs. Carter feeding birds on her porch. She smiled knowingly when she saw him. "Got it fixed?" "Yeah," James said. "But I kind of liked not having it." "Imagine that." She chuckled. He stopped walking and looked around. For the first time, the city felt like a real place, not just a backdrop to his phone screen. He breathed in deeply. He felt present. He felt awake. He felt different. That evening, he placed his phone on the table, not in his hand, not glued to his face, and stepped out onto his apartment balcony. The sky was fading into a soft indigo blue, and a few early stars flickered faintly. Cars hummed in the distance. Someone played an acoustic guitar downstairs, and the city breathed steadily all around him. He whispered to himself, "Life's bigger than a phone." And he finally understood what that meant. The next day, his phone would work again. But he knew he didn't want to go back to the way things were. He wanted mornings with real cinnamon rolls, walks with real sunlight, conversations with real people, memories not made through a screen but through his own eyes. A dead battery gave him a day he didn't expect, and somehow it gave him exactly what he needed. Sometimes the world becomes clearer when the screen goes dark. Life doesn't wait behind a notification. It happens right in front of us. It reminds viewers that presence, real experiences, and human connection are often lost behind constant scrolling. And stepping away even for a moment can open the door to joy we forgot existed. If this story made you think, tap like, share it with someone who needs a break from their phone, and subscribe for more stories.